Welcome to Writing Matters. My name is Bailey Sanford.
And I'm Nevaeh Tigret, and we are excited to continue a series of discussion on the history of writing and writing instruction.
Joining us today is Mr. Philip Jones, and he is an antiquarian who will talk to us today about runes. So, Mr. Jones, please tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you become interested in runes?
Sure. Hi, girls.
Hi.
So, what is an antiquarian? An antiquarian deals in the material culture of antiquity. So I deal in objects, and I am a specialist and a dealer and also a consultant regarding antiquities. Okay, that's kind of what my job is. But that spans a lot of time. You know, we're talking about from Mesopotamia to the Viking period.
Yeah.
So really we're dealing with 5,000, 6,000 years of time. But my interest as well, particularly in this area, is that I have a background as well in linguistics. And so the linguistics leads to my studies in language, which has led to the studies in runes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And you mentioned that you spoke over 20, correct?
I speak several languages. Yes.
That's crazy. What are runes?
What are runes? Well, to understand what runes are, actually, I would recommend that we take a look at the slides, please. Initially, I posted on our very beginning the rook stone.
Yes.
The rook stone is the Shakespeare of rune stones.
Right.
670 runes. And it is very important because it tells a memory of something before. We recently, runologists have reinterpreted that stone. A gentleman in Uppsala University, his name is Henrik Williams. He interpreted the rune stone to read on several occasions, Sagum Ög, Minni Ithor. I tell the elder Odin my memories. If we move to the next slide, please. I posted actually two things here because it is again a reference to memory. And to understand this, I want to actually talk about the Edda. Because in Grimnismal 20, we see Hugin och munnen flyga varje dag Jormengrund ufer. Ont ek a Hugin att han efter när kommit så samt mer om munnen. Huh? What does that mean?
Literally.
Well, it's actually not this complicated because Hugin means thought, the personification of thought. All right, he's a raven, and so is Munin. He's another raven, and they're both ravens of Odin. Odin here is speaking, and he says, "Thought and memory fly around the world every day, all around the world." And I fear about thought, that it may not come back.
Right.
But I worry more about memory. And it makes sense, because memory is an important concept for a culture that doesn't have writing.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about, I write stuff down when I go to the store, and what am I going to get? I write down everything. If I don't write it down, I forget it in 2 seconds. And you think about how ingrained writing is to what we do and who we are. And then consider a culture that doesn't have writing and how writing would be so special.
Right.
And so really when we're doing this, I think that's something to consider.
Yes.
Yeah.
You asked, what are runes? Runes are a series of alphabets. And when I say it's a series of alphabets, we're really talking about several, because there's an older version, there's several younger versions, there's versions that show up in certain places only and in certain styles, And then there are later versions. Runes actually are used into the 1800s.
Really?
In a place called Elfdal in Dalarna. They had a language that was very similar to Old Norse. And it goes and uses runes until the 1800s.
Right.
But if we look at each, I can kind of give you a better idea. Come back to the Elder Futhark slide, please. And we can take a look actually at an example.
Right.
The Elder Futhark is produced maybe from about 150 to 150 years before Christ until about 750 years, the Common Era.
Oh, wow.
All right, we're talking about an alphabet of about 24 letters, typically,
Yeah.
for many languages, not just what we think of as Proto-Scandinavian,
Right.
but Proto-Germanic as well. Also, we see a lot of inscriptions in Gothic, which is an older language as well. It was the first translation of the Bible into Germanic languages. Here we have a fibula, the Gardlusa fibula, which is in Stockholm. It was found in Sweden, and it dates to around 200 Common Era. And it reads actually, Ik onwoeds. Well, this was often translated to say, I am not mad. But the word woth, or other in Old Norse, actually is the same word that we see in the name of the god, Odin, Wodan. It means inspired. It means divine inspiration. We know another word in Greek that is similar, mania. So if you get a mania, we think you're going nuts. Well, not really going nuts, but overly inspired. So here he's kind of making a joke. I'm not inspired, but I still can write it down. Okay?
That's very interesting.
Really cool, right?
Yes.
If we go a little bit further on the younger Futhark, we see an example here of a rune stone. And you girls kind of looked at this with me before.
Yes.
And we saw, now on the one side we see the inscription
Yeah.
that is written in English Latin letters.
Yes.
But you were able to look at the inscription and you saw
The word.
Words.
part of the words. You saw brother. It's not that difficult
No.
to catch. We actually call it pinning to what's going on. And it's a very good way of reading these. These are formulaic. And there's a huge explosion of inscriptions. They're also making these inscriptions shorter in some respects. They're starting to reduce the size of the alphabet from 24 letters to 16 letters. And they're reducing to what is known as minimal pairs, which is D or T, or the or tha. If you put your fingers here and you say d and t,
Duh.
you'll hear
T.
one vibrate and the other one doesn't.
Duh. Tuh.
I do.
It's voiced and voiceless,
Yeah.
the sounds. And they realize, in some respects, that that exists.
Right.
And so they're reducing it. But then they want to go and change that and go back to that later on. So in the medieval times, they're using like dotted runes or the other types of runes. And we'll see that in a bit. If we can move to the next slide, we'll just look at the English Futhark quickly. And I chose this because this is such a cool ring.
Yeah.
This is a ring that was found in 1993 in the center in Wheatley Hill, England. It dates to the 700s or so. And on it, it has a beautiful inscription. It was gilt silver, so it means it was gold. There was gold on the original piece on silver, so they used a kind of electrolysis. And it had glass insets. A very beautiful piece.
Yes, it is very pretty.
And it reads, Ring ik had. I am called Ring. Well, why would I want to write the name of the thing on there.
Right.
Because the name is power. The name is significant in itself. It grants it kind of being of sort.
Right.
So it's a very interesting piece. And then if we move to the last slide, I'll show you one more. And this is so that you have a lot of luck in life and you find the man that will make your life happy forever. I'm giving you the magic right now so that you can translate it into, finding your husband. In Bergen, in the 14th century, there's a group of runic inscriptions that are used as property tags mostly. And these property tags, there are about 670. They're found. They're both in wood and also in bone. And on one of them, it writes, "Ost min kiss mig." So, my love, kiss me. So it's a very
Yeah, I
good.
low-key see it. I kind of see it.
Yeah. So there we go.
So what do we know about how German people saw writing in runes?
Well, that actually is a pretty complicated idea. We can, if we flip ahead just a bit, we can look at the idea actually of writing.
Right.
And how writing itself, the word write, actually shows up on a stone about 500 in Norway. And it says that I write this, I scratch this, I carve this, I paint this. The stone itself I was referring to is the West Ogder stone. It dates to around 500.
Wow.
And the inscription reads, Idringas ek warkas unam raita. I, of memorable lineage, the untakeable. We got to just make some names, right? We're not
Right.
just coming in there. We got to really have some power.
Right.
My name is Wakras and I am the untakeable. I am of cool lineage and I scratch these runes. We have similar examples in English where guys are making some sort of praise almost. Right. I am scratching, I am writing, I am painting, I am setting the staves. And that is what is important. It's a recreation of a memory.
Right.
It's a recreation of an idea to allow it to have power.
Right.
Right. That makes sense. So, furthermore, how were runes used?
You have to think about this. Writing as a concept is both an active and also a passive process.
Right.
When we talk about literacy, maybe I know what some runes are, maybe I recognize some runes, but maybe I'm not 100% sure how to write them.
Right.
Right.
So we have two processes to consider. And I think that we know that people knew runes. So initially the idea of writing something down just to know the alphabet and to make sure that we knew the three families of letters, because there are families that are involved, and they're known as et. But later it's also an invocation. So on that ring, for example, I'm invoking the name. In some cases we see things that are called like brektids. They're little gold things that women would wear on bead strings.
Yeah.
And we'll see formulae of words. So you'll see words like alu or laukas. Laukas means onion.
Oh.
Well, why onion? Why would I want to wish linen and onion? It's a very famous inscription. Lin laukas. Well, linen is warmth,
Right.
and laukas is a reference to health, because onions are seen as medicine of
Yeah.
sort. in fact, we know from the Viking times that if a soldier was cut in battle, they would feed an onion to them because you can smell the onion through the wound.
And you
So it tells you whether or not they're going to live.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Finally, we have this weird thing. This is a complicated subject, and I'll try to make it simple. But it's called in German Begriffheit. It's a really fancy name. What does it mean? We know that in some cases runes represent meanings,
Yes.
and the rune itself, like when we think about ABCs, we don't think about a meaning of A. So we kind of learn it when we're a kid. A is an apple.
Yes.
But we don't really think of the letter itself as having meaning.
Right.
Within runes, we have more of that kind of concept.
Yeah.
And in fact, it gets very complicated. And maybe we're still learning about what that means and how those things translate. I've given a couple of examples here of a couple of rune stones where you've got this idea. So if we take a look at the slide for the Steintoften runestone, Steintoften is in the south of Sweden. And it's a really, really cool runestone. It has hidden meanings and such. But in the third line, we see the use of the rune Yara. It means year. It can also mean destiny. That is something everyone agrees upon.
Yeah.
In some cases, like I've done some studies, where we actually look at more application of these meanings.
Right.
In other stones, a great example, Sparlusa stone, we're really looking at a recreation of an event. It is invoking a memory, it is creating a memory, but it is also invoking a sacred space. So
Essentially telling a story almost.
we're telling a story with the purpose of remembering.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so
amazing.
cool.
So what are, other than the ring, what are people writing in runes?
Because you mentioned how they engraved stuff on a
Right.
lot of things.
Yeah, they would engrave maybe on wood, on bone, on
Right.
stone. You know, they're not walking around, you know, carrying a piece of granite and a chisel and let's take a list.
Right.
This is a long process.
Yeah.
This is a difficult process. But it's a process that is meaningful.
Right.
So it's got to be a worthy memory, maybe.
Yes.
So, like she said, what are some other things that people would write in runes?
Well, I think for the most part, the vast majority, 85% of the runes, are runes that are formulaic and for names of, or memory of people. So in the younger Futhark, we see a huge explosion of these inscriptions where they follow an inscription. Someone carved these runes after, and then somebody,
Right.
and then signed. I wrote this, I signed this, I carved this. And I think that's the vast majority of what they are.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Right. That's really fascinating.
Girls, I hope that I'm able to give you at least some general idea of what's going on and it
Yeah.
made sense.
It
Yes, it
made
definitely
sense.
did.
Yeah.
Well, we wanted to say thank you for watching and stay tuned for more. Thank you so much, Mr. Jones, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And be sure to look out for more episodes of Writing Matters.